students, and welcome to our lesson on articles. In this video, we're going to be talking about how to use articles in English. We have a few different focuses in this lesson. First, we'll talk about indefinite articles, a and an. Then we'll move on to definite articles, the. Next, we'll talk about what situations should we use no article at all. And finally, we'll review everything that we've learned in the lesson. This lesson will be divided up into a couple different videos. So make sure that after you watch this video, you watch the others as well. Let's start with a warm-up. What do you know already about the articles a and an? So I have some nouns here in 1 through 8. I'd like you to decide, should I put a or an before each of the nouns? You can pause the video while you think about this, right? Okay, so we're back. I hope that you've thought about it, you've written down your answers. I'm not going to give you my answers just yet. First, we're going to learn some rules about a and an, and then I'll give you the answers. So to start, we're going to talk about indefinite articles, right? Indefinite articles. What are those? Well, as we saw in the warm-up, an indefinite article is either a or an, right? These are the two indefinite articles in English. Let's look at an example. In 2004, a college student at Harvard University created an interactive website called Facebook. Right? So in this sentence, I use two indefinite articles in the sentence, but I use a and an, and I'm wondering, what's the difference, right? How do we know when to use a and when to use an? So let's look at some rules here. Let's start with an. The first thing to know is that we use an before a singular noun. That means a singular noun means that it's a noun that's only one of something. For example, an egg is one egg. An octopus is one octopus, right? And we use an before a singular noun that begins with a vowel sound. So what is a vowel? You probably know that a vowel in English is A, E, I, O, or U. Right? We learned this a long, long time ago, but these are the 5 vowels of English. Now, notice that it's not the vowel letter, but the vowel sound, right? So each of these vowels also has a sound associated with it. An example. Notice that this noun begins with the letter E, but also it has a vowel sound, example, right? This one, an old book, right? Notice here, we're not going to look at the noun because this noun has an adjective that comes before it. So when a noun has an adjective before it, we look at the adjective instead of the noun. So what is the sound that this makes? Oh, that's also a vowel sound. So we use an. The next one is tricky, an hour, right? Here we have H, and H is not a vowel letter, but notice the sound that this word makes. Ah, hour, ah, hour. It's not the H that we hear, it's the from the O that we hear. So this is also a vowel sound, right, from this letter. The next one is similar, an umbrella, right? Okay, the rule for a is similar. We use a before a singular noun, but we use a before a singular noun that begins with a consonant sound. A consonant is the opposite of a vowel. So a consonant is any other letter that is not a vowel, right? So B, C, Q, R, P, right? There are way more consonants than vowels in English. A book, right? So B, B, is a consonant sound. We use because of that. Here, again, we don't look at the noun because it has an adjective before it. So G is also a consonant sound, G, right? Here, house, right? Even though it is an H, just like this one, here the H is silent. And here we can hear the H. House, house. And the last one, this is kind of tricky too, because we have a U here that uses an, but we have a U here that uses a. Notice the difference in the sounds though. A university, an umbrella. So this is a and this is U. U is a consonant sound, a is a vowel sound. Let's dive a little bit deeper into those unusual letters, right? The unusual letter rules for U. We use an if the U is a vowel sound. How do we know it's a vowel sound? It sounds like kind of like if you don't know the answer, For example, umbrella, uncle, unusual day. Do you hear the in each of these words at the beginning? So that means it's a vowel sound, and therefore we will use an before it. An umbrella, an uncle, an unusual day. On the other hand, we use a or a if the U is a consonant sound. How do we know if the U is a consonant sound? It's going to sound like Y-O-U, U, right? University, a unit, a usual event, okay? So if you're not sure if you should use an or a with the letter U at the beginning of a noun, think about the sound that it makes. Another unusual letter is H. If the H is silent, we use an, right? Remember that silent means we don't hear it. Hour, an hour. Honor, an honor. Honest person, an honest person. Here we never hear the sound of the H. But in other words, we do hear the H sound. It is pronounced. It sounds like ha or ha. Holiday, a holiday. Hotel, a hotel. And a huge dog. So again, with H, we want to think about, is the H silent or is the H pronounced? That will help us decide whether to use a or an. I have a bit of practice for you. Now that we know the rules, let's go back to the warm-up from the beginning. You probably have your answers written down, but I'd like you to pause the video and check your answers one more time now that you've gone over all the rules with me. I'm going to give you my answers in just a moment. Okay, here are my answers. We have a pen, an eraser, a notebook, an umbrella, because this is a vowel sound, a unit, because unit has that U consonant sound, an old building. For this one, remember to look at the adjective, not the noun. A boring movie, and finally, a smelly egg. Again, look, for number 8, look at the adjective smelly instead of the noun. All right, students, so I hope you did well on that, but if you have any questions, you can feel free to email me or come to my office hours. A little bit more about using a or an. The first rule is we use a or an when something is general or not specific, right? For example, a dog has 4 legs, right? Here, we're not talking about my dog or your dog or that dog over there. We're just talking about dogs in general. So we're going to use a or an, right? We could say an elephant has 4 legs too. A baby cries a lot. Again, here we're using a or an because we're not talking about a specific baby. We're just talking about babies in general. In general, babies cry a lot. I'm not saying that your baby cries a lot. I'm just saying in general, babies cry a lot. Another rule is that we use a or an to mention something for the first time, right? Here's an example of that. A man in Michigan found an old dinosaur bone. So here we have a man because it's the first time we're mentioning this man. And what did he find? An old dinosaur bone. Again, this is the first time we're mentioning the old bone. The second time we mention it, we use the. The bone is taller than the man is. We use the here because we already knew which bone we're talking about. And we already know which man we're talking about, so it's clear. So the first time we use a or an, the second and third and fourth time we can use the because we all know which one we're talking about. Okay, students, so I hope that helped you understand a little bit more about a and an and when we use them. Please be sure to watch the other videos so you can find out about other articles we use, including the and when we use no article at all.